Honey's healing properties have been well documented since ancient times. Its use went out of vogue in the 1940s with the development of antibiotics. Bay of Plenty-based company Comvita has developed wound healing products using the antibacterial properties of honeys with a unique Manuka factor, or UMF.
We have a medical honey supply program, so beekeepers have to be invited onto that program. Effectively, that means that they have a much higher standard of beekeeping, so that the honey we get is very clean. And when you're talking in the medical market, you obviously have to have a product that doesn't have any micro issues. So we're trying to minimise the amount of micro all the way through the supply chain, and we start with the honey. Well, I think one of the key drivers in the world at the moment is that antibiotics, you've got lots of problems with resistance. And from a medical point of view, products that can achieve the same result without using antibiotics, or perhaps reduce the time where antibiotics are used, will be very valuable going forward. There's been a lot of research done on medical honey, and in particular some quite large clinical trials of honey from New Zealand. The results of those have been very helpful in getting honey approved.
We found that honey, and particularly Manuka honey, contains special substances that are antibacterial, and to date none of the bacteria have been able to build resistance. Honey is quite acidic, and bacteria don't like to live in acidic environments. Honey also has an effect called osmosis. It is a supersaturated solution of sugars, and if you put honey onto any moisture, just like putting a piece of paper towel onto a moisture, it actually sucks up that moisture. And bacteria actually don't like to live in an environment where there isn't much moisture. So if you put honey onto a wound, and by osmosis it sucks the moisture away, it helps the antibacterial application. In Manuka honey, we've also discovered it has a special element, which we're currently calling the unique Manuka factor, or UMF, which works in a completely different way and also works as an antibacterial agent. This is one of the first products that we developed. It is something called calcium alginate, which comes from seaweed, and it is impregnated with Manuka honey. This is the next generation of dressings that have been created. It's called the MediHoney Gel Sheet, which is easy to use, easy to apply to wounds. It can be cut to size, and it can also be layered into wounds as well. It contains something called sodium alginate, which also comes from seaweed, so it's a natural product, and it is also impregnated with our MediHoney.
Europe and the US are the main market sectors. Between them and what we call the anti-infective market, it's somewhere between 200 and 300 million US. And then you've got the rest of the world on top of that. Key for us is really making sure that we've got enough should the tap turn on very quickly, which it's starting to do. And our medical business is really starting to grow quite quickly. We're working with the suppliers of medical honey. We have to work years in advance. And so these guys have been in the program now for 4 or 5 years. And we're also trying to work with the people in the program to produce more honey in the future.
Scott says the honey is a very effective tool against MRSA, an antibiotic-resistant superbug that's a major concern in hospitals around the world. We'll be back soon to take you to Rotorua, where we meet some people determined to clean up the district's lakes.